Martin Luther King Jr. wrote this prayer in 1953. Our loving Father, from thy hand have come all the days of the past. To thee we look for whatever good the future holds. We are not satisfied with the world as we have found it. We are looking for a new earth in which dwells righteousness. It is our prayer that we may be children of light, the kind of people for whose coming and ministry the world is waiting.
Micah chapter 6, verse 8 tells us, He has shown you, O mortal, what is good. And what does the Lord require of you? But to do justly, to love mercy, and to walk humbly with your God.
John 13:34. A new commandment I give you, that you love one another, just as I have loved you. You also are to love one another.
If you want peace, work for justice. Pope John Paul VI.
For it is not enough to talk about peace. One must believe in it. And it isn't enough to believe in it. One must work at it. Eleanor Roosevelt.
The Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. said, Our lives begin to end the day we become silent about things that matter.
The ultimate measure of a person is not where one stands in moments of comfort and convenience, but where one stands in times of challenge and controversy.
It is not enough to say we must not wage war. It is necessary to love peace and sacrifice for it. Martin Luther King Jr.
Galatians chapter 3, verses 26 through 28. For in Christ Jesus you are all children of God through faith. As many of you as were baptized into Christ have clothed yourselves with Christ. There is no longer Jew or Greek. There is no longer slave or free. There is no longer male and female, for all of you are one in Christ Jesus.
He who passively accepts evil is as much involved in it as he who helps to perpetrate it. He who accepts evil without protesting against it is really cooperating with it. Martin Luther King Jr.
In Ephesians chapter 2, verse 14, we read, For he himself is our peace, who has made the two groups one and has destroyed the barrier, the dividing wall of hostility.
Love is the only force that is capable of transforming an enemy into a friend. Martin Luther King Jr.
A reading from Acts chapter 10, verses 34 and 35. Then Peter began to speak to them. I truly understand that God shows no partiality, but in every nation, anyone who fears him and does what is right is acceptable to him.
During the Civil War, President Abraham Lincoln said, We are not enemies, but friends. We must not be enemies. Though passions may be strained, it must not break our bond of affection. The mystic chord of memory will swell when again touched, as surely they will be by the better angels of our nature.
An unknown author has written, Laundry is the only thing that should be separated by color.
If you can't fly, then run. If you can't run, then walk. If you can't walk, then crawl. But whatever you do, you have to keep moving forward. Martin Luther King Jr.
It is never too late to give up your prejudices. Henry David Thoreau.
2 Corinthians chapter 13, verse 11, Paul says, Finally, brothers and sisters, rejoice. Strive for full restoration. Encourage one another. Be of one mind. Live in peace. And the God of love and peace will be with you.